Summertime in Goode City was always a vibe until it wasn't. What was supposed to be just a summer vacation turned into a permanent residence for Sundai. Goode City was the last place she wanted to return to, but she had been left with no choice. One weird encounter turns into something she never imagined. Sunday was blown away, but can't seem to let go of the wild biker who is fearless and demands respect from anyone. Uno is dangerous, brash, and chaotic, but somehow Sunday finds herself enamored by his overpowering presence. That is until reality sets in and she realized that getting involved with the burner boy is not only stressful, but treacherous as well. It's ride two, so hold on tight, don't let go, and prepare to go on a journey of a lifetime. Ride two. Okay, I want to be honest. I love the book, and because I love Charae Lewis, but these were two immature ass kids who really had no business being together. But let's get into it. So this is Uno's story, and Uno is younger than Yachty. And if you did listen to last week's episode, go listen to that episode and then come back. So we opened the book with them interrupting a infamous rider party where they're doing tricks, talking shit, and then they go to a warehouse and break into it, stealing the contents inside. Then they meet up with Pope, Esco, and Onyx to unload the boxes that they took. Um, and Popes gives them money and telling them what to do with it. They can spend a little, put some in their savings, and then they also have an emergency fund that they should have. Just be smart about it because even though they're doing illegal things, don't just blow the money and have nothing to show for it. So then we're introduced to Sunday, who is in a car with her mother, and it's just very tense, quiet, nobody saying anything. And then her mother just cuts into her. Like, I sent you there. She was going to school in North Carolina, and her mother tells her, she needs to look for another school back home because she's not going back there. And this is where she says, I sent you there with hopes that you would be responsible and obtain your degree. Yet you showed me that you're not capable of staying on course and maintaining some focus on the things that matter. Your time there was a waste, and as usual, I had to be the one to make things right. So Sunday is begging, but her mom shuts her down like, no, you wasted time. I had to waste my money and you're not worthy of making good decisions. So Sunday is devastated by this news because she had been going to school in North Carolina for 2 years. So let's see. When you graduate, you're either 17 or 18. She had been going there for 2 years. So she's either 19 or 20. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was the last semester that something horrible happened to her. And so with her mom having to come to her rescue. Now she's telling her like, "I hope you enjoy going to that school," because she was paying for it. So she's like, "If I'm going to continue paying for your schooling, you're moving back home under my roof, and you're going to a school here because I said so." So it's like as soon as they get back to the house, she greets her stepfather Jeff, who basically opens her greets her with open arms. Excuse me. And to me, he's the worst kind of man. He sees how unfair Sunday is treated by her mother, Aurora, and he doesn't say anything, or he feels like he doesn't have the right to say anything. And it's like he tells her on the side, like, I see, but she's still your mother, but I don't agree with the things that she's doing, which is like a double edged sword because a lot of people, when it comes to being a step parent, it's just like you're basically just there. Don't say nothing to my child. This not your child, so you can't say nothing to me. Um, but Sunday, like she looks at it like, so you agree with me and you see what she's doing, but instead of having my back, you just stand by and do nothing. So it's just like, what do your words mean if you're not gonna do nothing to help me? So she immediately calls her cousin Alexa and she's like, come on, meet up with me so we can talk about it. And whatever happened in North Carolina, her mama done already told the whole family, so everybody know her business. So Sunday is feeling a way about that because it's just like, why do you have to tell everybody my business? But her relationship with her mom has been this way from the very beginning. So I'm not understanding why she's surprised at how fucked up her mama is. So, but with her going to meet her cousin, she borrows Jeff's car and she has an encounter with somebody on a bike. So when she's getting out of her car, the person like whizzes past her. So she's yelling after them like, "You fucking idiot! Watch where you're going." And so she thinking she about to walk into the restaurant with no problem. Little does she know this person spins the block and pulls up on her and says, "What did you say?" And so she's more calm. And he's like, "You actually parking in a no parking zone. So no, sweetheart, actually, you're the one in the way." Of course, this is Uno. Um, but they just break up. Not break up. I shouldn't say after that. But they like part ways on a bad note. Cause he walks up on her like, you better watch your mouth. I don't play that disrespectful shit. And it's just like, yeah, y'all real young. Real young. So when she gets inside the restaurant, she's talking to Alexa, and Alexa tells her, first you need to move out and you need to get a job. And Sunday, her comeback is, but she pays for my school. Who wants student loans? But you're complaining about how unfair she is and how she treats you, and you don't think it's right. And instead of like breaking ties from her to basically do what you got to do, you would rather sit there and suffer. But you also think somebody gonna sit there and listen to you complain about suffering when you really don't have to. So anyway, Um, oh, this is also like during this conversation, we find out that Sunday has a brother by the name of Samson, who Aurora, like he's her favorite. She loves him. She treats him, gives him everything, while treating Sunday like shit. And so Alexa tells her, we ain't gonna worry about that. We gonna we going to the burnout. We gonna have a good time. So at the burnout, of course, you got everybody doing tricks, and Uno sees Sunday. So he walks up to her, and the conversation goes much better this time. And he gets her on the back of his bike. And then after that, he tells her, you stamp now. And she's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "People have seen you on the back of my bike, so you are associated with the biker boys now." And this pisses her off because she's like, "I don't have time for drama, and I wasn't trying to do all that." And so he takes her out to eat back to that same diner. Well, not to that same diner. They go to a diner, excuse me. And they're having a conversation. And the little thing between them is he calls her every day of the week but Sunday. So he's calling her everything but her name. And he sees the ops. He jumps up and pulls his gun out and goes over to them, which, pisses her off. And she gets up to leave because it's like, you don't, excuse me. She's like, you don't have no regard for people around you. And why would you just pull out a gun like that? And his thing is, I saw it, so I had to handle it right then and there. Cause basically ain't no hole in my blood. I wasn't scared. And it's just like, okay, but still, why you gotta involve her in it? Which would be my thing. I'm like, how, now why am I in it? This ain't got nothing to do with me. So she was good on him right then and there because it's just like I can't be involved with your kind. So when she makes it home, here's Aurora telling her, I talked to one of the ladies at my church and she was telling me about her son and he's a nice church going young man, so you're going on a date with him. And she's like, why would you do that? And she says, basically, you gonna do what I tell you to do. So she takes this as the time to ask, why did you tell everybody my business pertaining to what happened in North Carolina? And all her mama says is because I wanted to. And she says, you think you can embarrass me and expect me to keep it a secret? But it's like, Literally nobody knows what happened but you two. So I'm like, how are you embarrassed? You just want to embarrass her and make her life a living hell. And so and then she tells her, I raised you to live as a Christian woman, not to behave like one of those video girls, which literally makes no sense. And we ain't even gonna get into it, especially with the way things are going nowadays in the way of sexy red and Sukiana and what people think that means. So anyway, of course, she goes up to her room. She calls Alexa to vent again. And Alexa tells her, don't go on that date or sabotage it. Do it any way you can. But then Sunday is like, no, because then that would just give Aurora something, or, her mom, if these are her words. This would give her something else to be upset about. But it's just like, okay, Sunday, which one is it? That's why I said I enjoyed the book, but they just two immature ass people. So let's get to this date. So when she goes on a date with the guy, I believe, what is his name? Kiwan. Kiwan is nothing like the church going man that her mother presented. And when she mentions this to him, he laughs and says, my mama lied because I go to church maybe once or twice a month. Um, and he's like, I do my own thing. I got my own business and I'm just chill. So while she was dreading the date, it comes, come to find out they both didn't want to be on this date. They both doing it as a favor to their mother. So it's just like, okay, let's go out and enjoy this one date and just say things didn't work out and it's all good. And so come to find out, he's a part of the infamous writer group. And he takes her to like their clubhouse or whatever. And as soon as they walk in, one of the guys walk up and like, what you doing with her? She a traitor. She was on back of one of them burner boy bikes. And so he looks at her like as if she's betrayed him in the worst way. It's like, nigga, I literally just met you maybe an hour or two ago. Cut it out. Because I forgot to mention before they go to the club, he took her to a restaurant. Um well, actually, like they pull up to the restaurant, but it's just like, well, do you actually want me to take you somewhere else? That's how they ended up at the club. Boom. I'm on point. And so she's like, she walks out of the club like, okay, no problem. I'm not gonna do this shit with y'all. And so on the way home, she asks like, how are y'all rivals? And he says he doesn't know, but he just knows he's riding for his boys. And she tells him, that sounds real stupid. So you beefing with somebody and you don't even know why you beefing. And he tells her, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what this life entails. So basically, shut the fuck up. So she's like, okay, no problem. So when he pulls up to her house, she's ready to jump out. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What you rushing for? It's like, did you? I hate people who do that. I am not a person who can get over something literally like 30 seconds after it happens. Because I'm like, was you not just there for the conversation y'all just had? And you told her basically to stop talking about it and to leave you alone about your game. So yeah, I'm gonna leave. But he's like, nah, we need a do-over. So they exchange numbers. And once again, this is where I'm going back to how I feel it's childish. Because Sunday, why would you let him talk to you like that? And you still agree like to basically go out with him again. And that's kind of her relationship with Uno as well. Uno kind of talks to her crazy, putting her quote unquote in check, and she liked that shit, so she went along with it. So later in the night, she gets a call from an unknown number, and at first she didn't answer it, but then she picks up, and it's Uno telling her to come outside. And she's like, "What? You don't even know where I live. Like, stop playing on my phone." And she hears a bike rev up, so she goes out looking out the window and see that fool outside, and she tells him like, "No, leave." So he's like, "All right, I'm gonna wake up this whole goddamn neighborhood then." So she goes outside to keep him from doing that. And he basically tells her, like things ended badly the last time, but she knows she really want to fuck with him. So that's what they gonna do. And they proceed to start hanging out, going on dates, if you want to call it that. But she's also still messing with Kiwan, which it was one part where I believe they were going to the movies. And her and Kiwan were going to the movies, excuse me. But what was it, in the parking lot? You got Uno, I think it was Yachty, and like a couple other people like from the game. And you're like, oh, thank you for bringing my boo to me. I'll take it from here. And basically punks that nigga to leave and takes her like to the movies. And I'm just like, man, what the fuck? But anyway, so their relationship, basically it is what it is, but we're more so focused on Sunday's relationship with her mom. Because at some point her mom, she just keeps picking and picking and picking until they have a disagreement. And Sunday leaves. She's like, I don't have to live in your house anymore. I don't have to do this with you anymore. I'm leaving. So she moves in with Alexa for like a short amount of time until Uno tells her, no, you coming to stay with me. And I'll take care of you. Like, I'll take care of your schooling and all that type of stuff. So she basically goes from one person taking care of her to another. And I kind of wish she would have spent some time on her own, but she didn't want to do that. That was her whole thing of being under her mother's thumb. So anyway, of course, Aurora, being the type of parent that she is, she's going around calling everybody, talking about how Sunday disrespected her. And this is when Sunday gets a call from her brother at first. And she's like, now you want to call me and you don't know what she did to me, so don't call me on that. And Sam's, I believe he full of shit. He was like, no, I'm not doing that. Why do you always think the worst of me? Maybe it's because I don't ever hear from you unless it's during the time that me and her have an argument. And he's another person who acknowledges that he knows that Aurora treats her shitty and he had the better upbringing. But what was he to do about it? And so, but he tells her, I'll pay for your schooling. Don't worry about it. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, so while she was staying with her, like, he's like, I'll take care of your schooling. Don't worry about it. She was kind of skeptical, like, you would really do that? And he's like, yeah, of course. Like, come on now, don't treat me like that. But if that's been your relationship this whole time, what do you expect me to believe? So, uh, what was it? Sassy tells Uno that his biological mother like reached out to her and she wants to meet him. And so at first he was kind of skeptical and he tells Sassy, like, I love you and I hope you don't think that me meeting with her, like, what am I trying to say? Like, she's not gonna take your place in my life or something like that. Like, you still my mom because you're the one who raised me. And Sassy says, oh baby, that's without a doubt. But I always knew one day it's a possibility that for you or Yachty, somebody would come and want to meet y'all. And so he's like, okay. And he meets with her. And the conversation, she's a nice lady. She's just like, unfortunately, at that time in my life, I couldn't keep you. But I always thought about you. And I think she's married now with two other kids. So she's like, I would love to talk to you again. And he's like, okay, cool. But then, like, when he left, he really didn't have any plans of meeting with her because he liked his life the way it was now. And so then he's going through it with Sunday and he gets shot. And with him getting shot, this fool, and I hate to call him a fool, but it's just like he wasn't talking to anybody at that time when he got shot. Because he was like, he didn't know who it was. He thought at one point his mama coming back into his life means she could have set him up. Then he accuses Sunday of setting him up. I think he even accused Yachty like having something to do with it. Like, the boy was delirious. And come to find out, when he finally got better, he had to go on an ass kissing tour and apologize to everybody. And Sunday popped up just to see how he was doing. And of course, even then he talked shit. It was just like she should have left out that house, but love wins, I guess, basically. So, uh, oh, and in the end, Yeah, this was before he got shot. My bad. So let me go back a little bit. So with her mom shows up to Alexa's house. Like basically, she had kind of been camped out there waiting for Sunday to show back up because Sunday was going between Alexa's house and Uno's place, and she jumps out the car telling her, come back home before I change my mind. Basically, like I'm the only one that can look after you. So she was like dependent on abusing Sunday in some way. And when she no longer had that access, she was calling her, and then she had popped up like, "Come home now," like, and it's like, no, I don't want that relationship with you. I'm not doing this with you. Um, and so they had got into an altercation because Sunday she was trying to walk away, but Aurora, like, she just wouldn't do it. She was so dependent on having that relationship of talking shit to her. She kind of didn't know what to do with herself. And come to find out, like when it all came out in the open, the reason why Aurora, damn, why did that become so hard to say all of a sudden, had treated Sunday the way she did is because Sunday's father, before he died, Sunday was, what do you say, daddy's babies, mama's boys. That's how it was. And so, but Aurora is jealous of her own daughter and the fact that her husband loved her basically, and she was jealous of her daughter. So that's why their relationship was terrible the way it was. So in the end, she ends up cutting her off because it's like, excuse me, I can't do this with you, and I'm not going to because I don't have to have this type of negativity and toxicity in my life, and I'm not going to. So peace out. So Sunday is brought into the fold of the biker club's family, and Sassy tells her, I'll look out for you the same way I look out for Liberty, and you're a part of our family. So that is the end of this book, my beautiful people, and I will see you back in the next episode, which is also Charae Lewis, which is also a part of the Burner Boys series, and this is Esco's story. Peace and blessings, my beautiful people.